I got the pleasure of watching, this makes me feel so old, but like I watched you literally come out of college and then make your way into the pro ranks and then really establish yourself, not just like on the US women's national team, but as like you're always there in that center back spot, winning World Cup, everything like that. So what do you think, I guess, what do you think you've improved on since you left college? Like, what's different about you as a player now than that day you stepped away from UCLA and, signed your first pro contract?
Oh gosh. I feel like so much, but I think like the biggest thing is just, I know this sounds so lame, but I think just like knowing how to be a professional like 24/7, and I think like kind of figuring that out like on the go, like on the fly, and like having some trial and error. I also think too just like mentality and like my mental strength is like a lot stronger, and I think a lot of there's like so many good players, and I think you can kind of get away with maybe not like being the best professional, or setting yourself up mentally and physically like to perform your best in college, but like the difference between players is so slim the higher you go in ranks, that you need the 1% to separate yourself. And I think another thing too is just like being able to stay as healthy as you can. Like I know injuries happen and all this stuff, but I think, physically and mentally taking care of your body is going to be really important. So I think there's just so many factors. I mean, at the end of it, I gave you three different answers, but like there's so many different factors that like contribute to kind of like staying at the top level, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because I think a lot of people think when you get there, then you made it, it's over,
Yeah.
but that's the start.
Yeah.
So do you work with anyone do you do any like specific mental training or do you work with anyone on that part?
I have in the past. I actually am like working on like establishing a like coach, a mental coach or whatever. But I think, you know, with that being said, I think that you're like never done getting better in every like asset like of the game, and that could be mental. It could be tactical, it could be technical, like everything. And I think just always like trying to get better in each area. Like I feel like I'm never like there. And I think that to a certain extent can play like a positive like role in the way that I am, because I guess I am never satisfied with the way I do things, or like, you know, we win a game, but like I need to do so many more things better. And so I think that that's like a positive. And um, as long as you kind of like spin it in a way where it's like a mindset, a growth.
Yeah. No, it's great. I'm already thinking like, oh, this is so great that the players who follow us will be able to hear this from you because I mean, I've said this myself personally as a player, and this is what we say all the time. But to hear, you're actively doing this, and they can watch you on TV, like being the best at what you do. So to hear that you are always still wanting to get better, I think it's so powerful.
Yeah.
What do you think, like in terms of all those tools that you talked about, all the aspects of the game? What do you think you did maybe differently than every other girl who, as a youth player, probably like maybe millions of girls want to be exactly where you are now? Like, what do you think you did differently than everyone else to set you up to be able to, achieve your dream?
Yeah. Um, I think I was like always, I know this sounds like, I feel like a lot of people were like, I was always with the ball, but I was at any minute I had, I was just like obsessed with soccer. So I would like find a little, like, we had this little ledge step. So I would just pass it like at my house, at my parents' house. So I would just pass the ball. Like I was just obsessed. Like I wanted to beat my juggling record. I would pass the ball with my right and left foot. Like I would, um, so I would be with the ball all the time as much as I could. My favorite thing to do was like play soccer. I watched a lot of soccer, and I still watch a lot of soccer. So I think like not only watching, but kind of paying attention to like little minor details. Um, and so I think that like those two things I definitely like distinctly remember doing growing up, and I like still do that. I think, it's cool that you started this company that like allows people to like spend time with the ball and have access to like tools that, we growing up like never had. And so I think that that's amazing. And I think the level of play in younger athletes are getting like the level is getting so much higher younger, and that's like amazing and also scary because we're going to be like so good.
Yeah. No, I always think that when I was thinking of when I was growing up, like I was exactly the same as you. And I was
Yeah.
thinking about, it was rare. Like we were the weird ones kind of. And
Yeah.
now I see even on Instagram, I'm like, whoa, these young players, especially on the women's side, are so good.
I know. I was like, I definitely couldn't do that when I was their age.
Yeah. No, and no, I totally agree. And I was the same as you too with watching the game. And what do you like if you were to tell a young player, what in particular do you do or focus on? Like, how do you think that watching the game helps, or what kind of things can a player do if they just want to say they've never really watched soccer and they want to start? What would you recommend?
Yeah. I mean, I think just like trying to pay attention to certain players and like see like areas of the game that they're like really good at, and see the way that they like will strike a ball or like beat a player. And I don't know, just like really focus on the details of like even their movement, their technique, their plant foot, like the way they pass the ball. Like it could be so many different things, but and it depends, like the way they play depends on, who they play, the opponent they're playing. Or is a defender playing against a really fast forward, like their spacing, their movement to drop step, like all, it could be so much. And I think that that's so cool that like you could just never be done learning. And still to this day, I'll watch, like my favorite league to watch is the Prem, because like there's just so many quality players.
Yeah.
And the way that the games are played are very fast paced, transitional, everyone's fast, and you have to be good on the ball and solve pressure. So, and I think as you get higher up, you know like I said, the difference between players is very, very slim. So I don't know. I mean, I think that there could be like multiple ways to like make it to the highest level, but I know that those two, like extra practice, like allowed me to feel like I did everything I could to like feel prepared to play and like do my thing.
Yeah, and that's a lot of what I think back on. It's the confidence you get from
Yeah.
doing it, that, and also when the ball
Yeah.
comes, it's squared
Yeah.
away.
And then
Uh,
it's also, I'm sure you can probably like relate to, but I think like every athlete, like when they're like find their zone mentally, like you're not thinking, you're just like doing it. And then that's like, oh, I've done this repetition so many times, so I can do this. And believing in yourself and not like stepping out timid or scared to like mess up.
Yeah, no, that's part is so important. I think especially
Yeah.
too when you're in the high pressure environment, you don't want to
Uh,
be thinking of that stuff.
oh, yeah.
By then it's way too late.
Yeah. It's too late. You're going to mess up. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone messes up, and that's fine. But I think it's like the importance of how you respond and like getting over it and like not messing up a second time.
Yeah, no, for real, for real. Oh, this is so good. I love this conversation so much. A couple other, we often get asked, we're talking about like fine tuning every little detail for that 1%. One thing we get asked about a lot is nutrition, and I tell the players, every player is different with what is good for their body. What is so like game day tomorrow? Take me through what you will eat and drink to prepare, and how specific it is, or if it changes up every time for you.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's harder on the road, obviously, like kind of just not knowing what you're going to get provided. But I think like being able to have electrolytes in the morning. I love my coffee, but I know on game days like I can only have one. And I think I've really had to like play with the nutrition part of that, because some days, or yeah, I mean, too, everyone knows, but like some days you're like, why do I feel so good? What did I do? What did I eat? What did I drink? And then some days you just feel crappy and you're like, what did I not have? Or what did I have that like I had too much or something? So yeah, it's about kind of fine tuning. So I'll definitely like have an electrolyte and hydrate in the morning and have one coffee, and that would be my coffee for the day. Um, and I really focus on like simple foods. So that is like oatmeal, like plain oats with like maybe like honey and a banana. And then like we have like 2:30 kickoff, so then I'll have like maybe like a lean protein like eggs or like chicken or something, and like rice or potatoes, or like if they have pancakes. I feel like pancakes are kind of like common in pregame meals because carbs are so important, and I'm sure people have heard that, but they like really are like your main fuel source. So and then of course like antioxidants, berries and stuff. So I'll probably just like mix in berries with my pancakes or something. But it does, like you said, it depends on the time of kickoff and stuff. But I know that like for my next game we play at 2:30, so I'll definitely get in breakfast and then have like a lighter-ish lunch.
Yeah, no, it's always interesting, and I identify with when I played in Sweden, and when we were on the road, sometimes we would stop at like a rest stop for our pregame meal, and it'd be like
Yeah.
something that I've never eaten, and I was like, oh gosh, I don't know how this
Yeah,
is gonna.
you're like, well, here goes nothing. Like,
Yeah,
hope this is good. I
yeah,
know. I think too, like you said, I think we sometimes on the road, I guess I can control if I bring my own oats and like heat up water or something. Like I can control that, but it's hard when you travel and stuff. So yeah, I mean, luckily we've like the game has grown so much where it's like you're given so many resources to like be at your best. So, I feel so fortunate to be here and be able to have a cafeteria and have them serve us breakfast and lunch. So,
yeah. I would love to see the setup there. I'm sure it's
yeah,
unreal.
amazing.
Yeah. So last question from me for everyone. Um, Talk to the young girl out there who dreams of being the next Abby Dahlkemper. What advice do you have for her?
Yeah, um, that's a really good question. I would just say that everyone's like road and journey looks very different. So it's okay if you feel like you're not on the same path as someone else. I think it's important to look up to, um, you know, uh, athletes and people in general, and kind of, be able to want to be in their shoes one day and aspire to be there. I think that's really important. And I think also just knowing that like adversity is a part of life, and hard things will happen to you in your life and in your career. But I think it's like the most important thing is how you respond to that hard thing that comes your way. Um, and that's gonna, you're always gonna be able to get over the hump. And just knowing that like it's gonna be okay in the end. So, um, and also I think my last thing is just like enjoy it. Like I feel like time flies by, and I like miss my club days, like youth teams, traveling and stuff. So, I mean, that was kind of a lot of advice, but yeah, I would just say all those things.